Say something. Oh. Shh. For those of you who hear my voice, don't say anything. Hello.
Hello, can
Can
you hear me?
everyone hear us and see us? Hello, hello. Good morning, everyone.
What?
Oh, they can hear you. Let's go.
Yo, that's cool. That is dope. Nice. Very nice.
They can hear us. Welcome to the uh lucid audition sort of breakdown. Thank you all for joining us here today.
Yo. Hello.
For those of you who don't know, I am Manager Kun. I am a talent manager of Lucid Multimedia, and we are joined here by the magnanimous, awesome Duran, our CEO.
What's up? We just said hello for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Just like Mike
Mic
check and
check.
hello for the entire time, and then just turned the stream off. But yeah, what's going on? I'm B2B here and talk to people. Hopefully
Woohoo!
people have good questions
Yes,
or bad
yes.
questions. Honestly, any
No question's a
questions?
bad question. Um, yeah, we wanted to come here today to offer a live and open platform for people who have questions about the Lucid Multimedia audition process to feel free to come forward. We can answer them on stream. We can also talk about any like FAQs that have often come up during the audition process, and yeah, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so let's see. I guess I'll start by saying some basic stuff about the process, and then that will give people time to possibly come up with questions or whatever. So I'm just gonna start talking, and then we'll go from there. So this is the second audition process that I've overseen from the beginning. When I first came to Lucid in 2023, I came in at the very end of the audition process that we were doing, as sure you remember.
Oh yeah.
So I just kind of got thrown in literally in the last interview phase. But generally speaking, audition process is starts with the audition, right? You fill out the form, you make a video, and then you send it to us. The way that it works, just for insight from for people, how we approach auditions is we effectively look at the applications. So we actually don't start by looking at the videos. We start by reading all of stuff that you put in the applications, and then we effectively look at your channels, and then we watch the videos. So basically, there's kind of a couple different stages that we go through. Basically, one stage of just screening the application itself and then watching the video, and then if that goes well, then we kind of start prepping for interview selections. And usually, there's like a couple phases of interviews in which we'll ask like each interview will be kind of like tailored to different kind of big picture themes, and then over a period of probably like 3 interview sessions, we start whittling people down from there. So yeah, that is the very very rough kind of way we structure the process internally. So the big thing, and I'll just say like big thing that I've noticed from current reviewing current audition applications, as well as in past rounds. One of the biggest things that I wanted to say, for anyone who is either auditioning or thinking about submitting one, the big question is whether people release content 5 to 6 times a week, and there's like a yes or no option to select, and then if you don't currently do that, the question becomes, are you able to do it? And then that's also a yes or no. One of the big things that I've noticed so far is a lot of people putting yes to those questions when the actual answer is no. So like we actually look at people's channels and stuff. So if you are writing in your channel that you release 5 or 6 pieces of content per week, and then I look at your channels and you're not doing that, then I'll probably just immediately disqualify the application. That's why we have a option in the forum for if you're not doing it currently, if you're able to, and then you can write a little explanation, which I do read. I think that's like a very important thing. So I just wanted to bring that up. That's one of the biggest sort of feedback points that I have for people potentially applying, which is really just be truthful on the audition form, because some of the things on there are pretty easy to fact check. So yeah, be upfront on the form. That's much better. Let's see.
Yeah, we have a question from Luna. The 60-40 split, does that count for both Twitch and YouTube, or will it slightly change depending on platform, since on Twitch you can start earning much earlier than on YouTube?
That's any platform. So any platform that dollars directly come in. So whether that's Twitch or YouTube or Stream Elements or Patreon or anything. So basically any platform that money changes hands is where the split applies to. So it doesn't matter what the platform is.
Second question from Plip Fune or Fune. What do you consider as forms of content? Streams, clips, tweets?
Content would be like either streams or videos. So for example, if you stream 6 days a week, then that would count. If you make like 3 shorts and 3 streams a week, that would count. If you do, basically streams, shorts, or longer form videos is kind of what we're looking for. Social media like Twitter, we look at separately. There's no like specific requirement for like tweeting. We do look at social media like Twitter accounts to see, are you active on Twitter and stuff. This is mostly important because Twitter, whether you like or don't like Twitter, Twitter is like a kind of where the community lives primarily. So it's really hard to be a content creator if you are not sort of active in the place where your community is most active on. So we do look at Twitter.
Great. Probably a follow-up question to that. Actually, no. Let me answer somebody else's question in the chat first. Golden X Wolfe asks, "Are you an adoption-based agency?"
Yes, we are. Right now, we are only adopting because frankly, we don't have budget to build new models for everyone. So at this time, right now, we are only accepting people that already have their own IP and their own models.
Next question. Are you looking for established channels with a minimum view/sub count, or would you consider VTubers just starting out?
Yeah, we have no requirement for, audience size currently. I personally care way more about your level of activity than how big someone's channel currently is or isn't. Obviously, if someone with a 100,000 subscribers and is already really well established submits an audition, that's great. That's obviously a nice advantage, but um, it doesn't mean that we're only looking to select the biggest people that apply, um, or anything like that. Because again, activity level and motivation, and sort of seriousness is more specifically what we're looking for than size, right? Like a smaller VTuber or someone who's newer but is like really driven and motivated and is like able to produce shorts every day. Someone like that has the ability to grow quickly, so it doesn't matter as much to us if they're not big now, because that person probably has what it takes to become big soon. So that's nice. But of course, yeah, if like there's some established people that audition, that's a great perk. But it's not specifically what we're looking for.
Thank you. Next question by Sabuka. I've always been curious, but what are the long-term goals or visions of entertainment agencies slash companies like Lucid?
um, I mean, at a basic level, the long-term goal is to build a sustainable business that is profitable. That's ultimately what we are. We are a business. But what that specifically means, um, like the reason for it is because we as a company are, I think, providing a valuable service to a lot of people. We are providing job opportunities to our staff, obviously. We are providing, uh, support, growth, mentorship, guidance to our talents, which is great because that allows them to hopefully be more successful as creators. And then, of course, we're providing value to the community that we have, in the form of, providing entertainment and, um, positively impacting the lives of people in our community. So basically, all this is to say that sort of being a successful business allows us to do those things more and do them at a larger scale than we are able to do now as a smaller business, right? So it's kind of an all rising tides lifts all boats situation. But at its core, um, the easiest answer to that question is make more money and become a profitable business. Not just for the sake of like me making money personally off of this company. It's more so that by growing as a business and making more money and becoming profitable allows us to support people more. So it's like that then grows the business even more, and so on and so forth, right? So it's very much a uh, mutually beneficial thing, I guess you could say. But ultimately, yeah, that's the goal. And then there's some more esoteric goals involved, like, hey, long term, it would be really neat if we could do our own 3D concert live, right? Like there are things like that would be really cool from a goal perspective. Once, hopefully in the future, we get much bigger as a company to be able to do some of those really really cool uh, events that some other larger companies do. Like that's a really cool opportunity and things that we would like to do. But again, everything kind of boils down to like be a stable and successful business. So it's not an exciting answer, but that's the real answer.
Follow-up question from Tila Kajit regarding sort of like people's IPs and stuff. Would you consider someone who is starting out and only has a customizable model right now? Do you know what a
Yeah.
customizable model is?
Yes, I
Yeah.
do. Pretty sure I do. That's like yeah. I mean, I think that's exactly what it sounds like. Yeah, I would say the answer to that is yes. We would certainly consider because again, like I said, I think for me, the number one, probably like the number one, two, and three thing is finding talents that either are able to produce a high volume of content consistently for a long period of time, like either are doing that now or can do that, or like have the intrinsic internal organization skills, internal motivations in order to do that. That's the biggest marker of whether someone can succeed is their own intrinsic motivations. So I care less about the quality of someone's model, like if they are using a customizable model now, but are like, hey, I can grind really hard and I'm really motivated. That's more important to me. But if I'm like comparing side by side someone with let's say like everything else is the same, but one person has a fully developed and rigged live 2D model and someone else is using like a customizable one, I would obviously lean towards person with an already established model. But again, that's like if we're everything else is the same. But customizable models are fine. They get the job done.
All right. We have another question from Golden X Wolfe. Say if a talent in another agency wants to apply to you guys, they only have a short amount of time to get their IP. Would you still potentially take them?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the 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 best answer to that would be it depends on what their current contract is like in wherever they are. What is the obviously if someone is currently contracted with another agency, um, that would be something that we would figure out in interviews. I would probably need to look at the contract and see what it says about them leaving. What are the conditions in which someone can get out of that contract? How is the IP handled? If they can keep their IP and want to come here, that's fine. If they can't keep their IP and want to come here, then that's just a separate discussion that needs to happen on what that looks like. Or do they have another model that they can use? That's they're the same person, but they would be joining Lucid under a different IP. That's just a discussion that we would have in like interview processes. But I wouldn't disqualify someone or not consider someone just because if they are in another agency. So if for some reason someone in another agency is interested in auditioning, I would basically look at their audition the same as I would with anybody else. There just might be some additional questions that we would need to answer as part of the interview process.
For sure, for sure. Uh, a question from Plip Fune. Would the level of management be more than what's provided in Lucid Multimedia's content clinic?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like not even close. I would say just for other people, the content clinic is sort of a free volunteer service that we provided a couple months ago. Also, Content Clinic 2.0 will actually be coming like next month, so stay
Ooh.
tuned for that. But yeah, that Content Clinic is really like a pretty like surface level support, and it's just like a session. So the Content Clinic basically people are applying for the Content Clinic with like specific questions or things that they want help with. And so we address those like very specific things. Someone's like, hey, I'm struggling with like organizing. So we'll talk about that very specifically and just provide like some solutions to very specific like one-off things. But yeah, management that we provide to talents in Lucid is like basically 24/7 ongoing support on everything. So much different, I would say.
Sure. Sort of related to that, a question by Bryn Bramblethorn. What particularly would Lucid Multimedia be able to provide to a new VTuber hire that an indie wouldn't be able to do themselves?
I think honestly, it's kind of hard to answer that question in a vacuum. So, I think the best thing that I would say is that it really depends on the person. There are some indies that don't need an agency because they can do everything themselves. And there are some people that need what an agency provides because they can't do everything themselves, or they don't want to do everything themselves, or things of that nature. I think he might have a really good answer for that. Um, Maybe we can bring her in later to describe that, because I think she has a pretty good answer for that specifically. But I would say it really depends on the individual, because effectively, what an agency, not just Lucid, but like any agency provides potentially, is something that like anyone could theoretically do on their own. Not that I'm trying to talk people out of auditioning, but yeah, I mean, like you can go study, how YouTube or Twitter algorithms work on your own. You can learn how to edit on your own. You can learn how to do marketing on your own. You can have your own project management system to organize your content. You can keep your own schedule. You can reach out for collabs on your own. You can find sponsorships on your own. Like you can literally do everything by yourself if you want to. The point of an agency um, is that our goal is to take a lot of that administrative burden off of your plate. The other point of an agency, I think, one of the other benefits, two other benefits, I would say. One is the community that we have internally. I'm not even talking about like the community of fans and supporters and people like that, but the internal community of just being in a group uh, of other talents who are all driven, motivated, talented people and staff. Like it's one thing to analyze your own content, and plenty of people can do that successfully, but it's potentially having someone like your manager analyze your content might open up different perspectives that you didn't see or didn't notice or didn't consider, because it's someone else looking at your work is going to be different than you looking at your own work. So those are kind of two of the things that I would say specifically that an agency would be able to do for someone that they couldn't probably do themselves. Um, but yeah, I mean, ultimately, if you're like super driven and motivated, not everybody needs to be in an agency. So there's no like secret sauce or like magic formula that an agency has that like doesn't exist out there that you could find on your own, right? Plenty of indies are insanely famous, make tons of money, and are super successful on their own, right? But not everyone wants to do that by themselves or can do it by themselves.
Mhm. Next question by Mesmin. Do you start going through applications as they come in, or do you view them all after the deadline?
We review them as they come in. So yeah, we've already like we're actually pretty on top of reviewing applications. So we've reviewed probably almost all of them that have come in so far. Um, and yeah, I mean, we'll probably start interviewing within the next week or so. Um, but what I will say is that, and I think we did put this in the FAQ on the website as well, but there's no specific advantage to applying early because we will not select anyone until after the deadline is over. So, for example, let's say we're taking 4 people, and we're not going to select all 4 people next week. Let's say of the people that applied, we're already like, oh, cool, we're just going to pick these 4 and not consider anyone else. We'll basically review applications and give every application like equal weight, even though just for efficiency purposes, we're reviewing them as they come in, and we'll probably start interviewing, as soon as we find people that we want to interview. But every application will be reviewed. Even like someone who sends the audition on the last day will be given the same chance, because again, we won't select anyone until well after the deadline.
Next question by Anna Makara. Would someone who has previous agency experience be beneficial?
Probably. I think in general it's good experience, so I would say yes to that. I don't think there's like a specific advantage to having previous agency experience, other than maybe sort of just understanding or having some basic understanding of how agencies work. I can't say I have experience with how other agencies work, so sure, but certainly couldn't hurt.
Thank you. Next question by Fumi Kokia. What is your policy on streaming outside of YouTube and Twitch?
Don't care. Stream wherever you want.
All right, next question. Next question by Ufia VT. What is the level of ambition you want from a talent? Are you setting up for a stability slash safe zone, or willing to try all kinds of stuff and new stream stuff? And I know they had a follow up. What they mean by non-safe types of streams is like more niche styles. I asked this as there are kinds of streams that I'd want to do that as an indie I just can't afford to do alone. Things like cooking slash tea making slash 3D karaoke's.
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. I would say, budget is going to be a limiting factor in some of those things. Like, I guess if your expectation is like, oh, like Lucid will give me budget to do these things I can't afford to do by myself, then that's not happen. So, uh, if that's what the expectation is, then definitely we're not a good fit. Um, but if it's more like just doing kind of like kooky off the wall ideas, like cool. Our general policy is that it's your content and your choice. So we will almost never tell you no to not do something, unless it's like explicitly, bad for the brand, or if you're gonna make some sort of like racist videos or something. I don't know. Like, but outside of that, like you could basically do whatever you want. Essentially, what we are here to do is provide guidance and feedback, but ultimately, again, like it's your brand and it's your content, so you can choose to do whatever. The first part of the question is sort of like what level of ambition. Um, it's more so an ambition to be a full-time creator and understand sort of the level of work and commitment that goes into being a full-time creator, versus ambition in terms of like doing really like unique, crazy individual types of content. The only thing that I would say about that is that um I would just reflect on what type of content a person wants to do. Like if it's like really crazy outlandish stuff, the question that I would have would be sort of like, why are you wanting to do that? um if it's just like, if the answer is like because it's interesting or because I feel like it or whatever, then again, I'm not going to say not to do that type of content, but I would just question sort of like, again, what is the benefit and what is the value of doing that content? Is there an audience for it that you're trying to cater to? Again, are you just trying to do something cool because you can? So I think the big thing is just like thinking strategically about your content, and why you're doing the things that you're doing. Um, I think really famous creators can get away with doing a lot of stuff successfully that smaller creators can't do. So from an order of operations perspective, I would probably advise in general, like, find something that's like stable and consistent and is proven to work before trying to go nuts with like all kinds of crazy ideas, because while they might be fun, they might not produce results. But again, it's going to be your content, your choice. So I would say that as a suggestion, and you could freely tell me to fuck off, and that's fine.
Next question by Malvor9. Why does your terms of service include arbitration? What are the benefits?
Well, that is a pretty random question, but in general, arbitration is easier and more efficient. So, primarily why we have that.
Next question by Fumi Kokia. What is your policy on having many models? Will it matter? For example, like if you have a 3D model and a 2D model.
No, I don't think that matters. If you have multiple different types of models, I think several of our talents do. Only a nice to have. Allows you to do a little bit more, so that's definitely a good thing.
And then another question by Fumi. What is the chance? What are the chances of someone with a large audience and less experience versus a person with a smaller audience and more experience?
If you're asking like what's the preference, that's a good question. I honestly don't know. I would say if those are just the two factors, I would probably try to figure out through the interview process uh, more, because on its face, both of those things are advantageous, right? Like the person with a bigger audience, less experience, the thing we would say is, okay, well, we can help give them more experience that will help them leverage uh, their larger audience better or grow their already large audience, versus someone with more experience that has a smaller audience. Then the focus of our work would be, rather than trying to grow your skills and experience as a creator, our focus would be more shifted towards growing your audience. So I wouldn't say one of those is particularly better than the other. Um, they're just different strengths from different angles, and that might change like our management style of that person depending on which one it is. Um, so whether ultimately the reason we would choose, or what we would choose, would depend on probably other factors that we would discuss in interviews.
Yeah, context is very very important.
Hmm.
Let's see. Ria Sumire, can I have $5? Duran, thoughts?
Yeah, sure.
Wow, look at that.
Link
Uh,
me your stream elements. I'll send you $5.
um, Another question by Ana Makara. Is there already a specific thing you're looking for, like how certain agencies look for certain personalities, aesthetics, or things like that? Understandable if it cannot be stated.
No. Again, I've said before, and I'll say again. I think more than specific like content niches or aesthetic style in the model or whatever, I think the specific thing we're looking for is people that are intrinsically motivated and committed to creating content, and either have a proven ability to do so. Like if I look at your channel, can I see clearly that you've been, let's say, releasing like 6 pieces of content for of the past 6 months, right? Like if I can see that, that's really important to me in terms of what I'm looking for. Or someone who can show me through their audition video that they have the ability to do that. Maybe they haven't done it yet, but they can do it. Right? That's probably, like I said, the number 1, 2, and 3 thing that we're looking for in people right now, more than content types and stuff, because there's plenty of content types and aesthetics that can be successful. Most of them can be successful if they are executed properly and they're executed consistently, which is like the most important thing in being a successful creator. By, like, again, it's not even close, like how valuable consistency is versus like literally anything else you could do as a creator.
Slightly related to that, is this is a question by Shizu Estrella. Is Lucid looking to make waves of VIRSONAS that are focused on one specific theme, or is it more about how well they would work together?
I would say the latter, for sure. Yeah, again, like we're not necessarily looking to, for example, have like, oh, this is the people we'll choose here will all be like esports themed or whatever. Yeah, we would definitely consider. I would say, yeah, one thing we would consider is sort of not just how the people we select would fit with each other, but how they would fit with the rest of our talents, because that is important. You know, how the talents work with each other and get along with each other is really important from a like company culture perspective. So that's definitely something that we would consider very, very much. And that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with like the content niche or style. It's more of a like personality. I mean, there are some specific content niches that may not work. For example, like a super heavy BFE creator might not work super well with Lucid because Lucid has a lot of, you know, women or women presenting talents, and a super heavy BFE person, probably wouldn't be able to like collab with anyone, you know, with like 90% of our talents, right? So that might be a problem, even if the BFE person is like super successful, and made tons of money, it still might not be a good fit. I'm not saying that for sure, but it's just like as an example.
Next question by Gode X Wolfe. If a talent you want to hire on has streamed primarily on reality/Irium, how can they potentially show that they do stream 3 to 5 days a week?
Yeah, I think I guess I don't know if like Irium saves VODs or anything like that, but I'm sure there's ways we can figure that out.
Yeah. Uh. Oh. Next question by Anna Makara. I know this is a bit of a tricky question, but regarding audition videos, do you prioritize certain things when looking them over? I know don't turn it into a highlight reel is one, but do you have any tips as to things that you would want to see?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me personally is how well the video highlights your personality, and also how well the video highlights kind of your creative vision, and how well the video showcases like your own uh, skills at editing, and also just in terms of skills as a creator. Right, so I would like, ideally, to get a good sense of who you are from watching the video. Right, because I can look at your content to see a lot of stuff, but the video, I want to be able to understand in like 3 minutes or 5 minutes who you are, versus having to like watch hours of stream VODs and stuff to figure that out. We will do that eventually, but like basically, your audition video is really like your first impression for the most part. So that's kind of how I would approach it. Like, if this person has 3 minutes to figure out who I am as a creator and like what I'm about, um, that's how I would think of the audition video.
Next question by Danya VT. If unsuccessful, will we still hear back? And if so, how long can we expect to be waiting until we do?
But we will not email rejections unless we've interviewed you. So if you just apply and don't get selected for moving on to the next phase, interview phase, you will not hear back from us. So, and I would say, again, the deadline is June 1st. So I would say if you haven't heard from us by June 2nd, then you have not passed. There are way too many people to email rejections. So in general, we will not do that. If we select you for interviews, like if you've gotten to an interview phase, then we will actually email rejections for people that don't pass to like further interview phases.
All right. Next question by Fumi Kokia again. I'm so sorry about all the questions, but would you ever be looking for artists in any way, or is that something fully handled by the talents themselves rather um, than artists hiring? And I guess is the question more about like live 2D artists and riggers and such? Um, if you can answer us in the chat for me, or is it about like merch art, or if you could be more specific, I think that would help us a lot.
Yeah.
But while we have that on hold, another question by Anna: would it be damaging if an applicant is on hiatus due to multiple factors but is actively coming back, as well as has a past proven track record of 4 to 6 content produced a week?
Yeah, I think you answered your own question. So we again we look at stuff. That's why the audition form specifically has a field for that. So again, like one of the questions is, do you release content 5 to 6 times per week? If the answer is no, the next one is, can you do that? And then the next thing is to kind of explain a little bit why. So that I would absolutely like. So I will say, when I'm reviewing audition submissions right now, anyone that says no to the question of, do you release content 5 to 6 times per week, but then they say yes to, are you able to, then the next thing that I do is read the explanation for why, and then I will also look at the channels to see, like, okay, if they're not doing it now, like, have they shown that they, like, were they doing it in the past? That's usually a pretty easy way to vet the answer of, like, are you able to do it? Then I would look at the channels to see, like, yeah, were they releasing that much content previously, and then, like, something happened recently or whatever. Be looking at that. Yes, and then the explanations also as well.
Sure. Next question by Blushy Faye. Do you prefer if audition videos focus more on the skills that the creator has, like showcasing them in the video, or do you prefer that the video is more like a get to know me style introduction, or both?
Yeah.
Because I feel like every agency is different in what they want to see. Some want it in character, others don't.
Yeah, I think the best thing I can say to that is like I just mentioned, it's kind of basically it's like, if I only have 3 minutes to look at your stuff, can I get a sense of whether or not I want to interview you in 3 minutes? So things that I'm looking for is like, what is your personality? Do I feel like you would be able to get along with the people in our company? do you exhibit like a really good aesthetic vision, right? Like, is your video aesthetically pleasing? Does it look like it took effort and time and thought was put into it? Was the editing tight and clean and good? Those are things that like you can show off in 3 minutes, and those are the things that I would look for. Uh, so I guess maybe a more practical answer to this would be like, let's say someone has a video and it's just basically their model in front of a green screen talking for 3 minutes. And then someone else has a video that has them talking for 3 minutes, but then there's a lot of cuts to different clips or effects or different things like that to make the video more engaging and more visually interesting. Also showcases some of their content and styles and stuff. Well, I would probably place much more weight on that one than just someone in front of a like green screen talking. Um, so there we go.
For sure. Random question by Rainer. Shout out Rainer, our head mod on the Discord. Can Boogie pay me more cat photos for being head mod in the Discord, please? I'm dying here.
All right. Yeah, we can make that happen.
You heard it here, folks.
Bringing it up to Boogie. Yes.
Follow-up question by Anna. Adding on to the like small audience, large experience versus like large audience, low experience question. What's the preference of someone with a large audience slash low experience in like skill set, content, music, and content creation versus someone with a smaller audience but more experience in those things?
I mean, I would say this answer would just be the same as what I said before. That
Yeah,
they're both important, and there's not one that's better than the other per se. It's more so like we would have to just figure out in interview process like other factors because both of those can be valuable.
yeah. Next question by Shizu Estrella. Speaking of esports, if a talent would like to try, like say entering Overwatch, Face It League events or tourneys, would making streams or videos about that content be something that Lucid would be all right with?
Yeah, I used to work at Face It and run Overwatch stuff for Face It. So, but yeah, I mean that stuff is good. Themed content that has like some sort of like goal progression or story attached to it is good content. So
100%, 100%. And if you do enter a tournament in the future, good luck. Next question by Viliana Nespiro. If a talent needs help with learning a skill, like video editing, is it possible to help them? Because I know the basics of video editing.
yeah, we have a shit ton of resources, and we do a lot of stuff to try to help talents build their skills. So absolutely yes, do that.
Yeah, my name right first. All right, that is all the questions in chat for now. It has been about an hour. Any thoughts so far on the questions asked around?
Good questions for sure. I would say good questions. Do we want to summon T
Yes.
to chat a little bit?
Yes. Let us move down in the thing in the channel. I can't drag you, but just enter the live VC voice chat. And then T, if you're here, please join us in the live VC.
Yeah.
Boop-a-doop.
Okay.
All right, there you are. Question by Nay: are you going to bring any talents on? I think. Are you talking about the? Yes, we are.
If
Sorry, 3D or 2D was a follow up to my previous question that you asked what I meant. Oh, Would you be looking for 3D or 2D artists in any way, or is that something fully handled by talents themselves? Oh, I see. I think for that, like, it depends on for what purpose. Because I like Duran answered before, like we don't have the resources at the moment to do like a full like debut and like drafting phase from start to finish for a new VTuber model for somebody. But if that's a process that you already have in the works when you join us and you would like help in like finding an artist for either 2D or 3D, we can certainly help with that. We do have resources for that. We have connections for that.
Yeah.
Hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, if the question is, are we hiring like an in-house artist and stuff? No. One day. Not today.
Manager Kun, how do I get an autograph? You'll have to meet me IRL at Offkai, where we have a booth. Woo! For those of you who don't know, Offkai is a VTuber oriented convention in that's always held every summer. This year is what, Gen 5? I think Gen 4, Gen 5? Gen 5. I think it's Gen 5.
Gen 5.
Yeah.
Actual question. If someone's already debuted previously, is Lucid gonna just announce him or do a small debut? No, we'll plan some sort of event.
Oh, we have T here. T, talk to us.
Hello.
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 Hi.
How many people are we looking to bring on? Less than 5. Probably, yeah, less than 5. That would be the answer.
Why isn't your food?
And then
what is going?
Applications are being viewed rolling. We will probably start interviewing people next week, but we will not choose anybody until after the deadline to ensure that everybody has the proper chance to have their application reviewed. So yeah, if you like, for example, you could submit your audition on literally the last day and we will review it. And if it's awesome, we will interview. So we won't, again, we're not going to close ourselves from any opportunities for the sake of like trying to find people faster. It's just more so doing this on a rolling basis for efficiency purposes, because last 2 times we've done auditions, we've literally had like more than 1,000 people audition. So it's a lot of work.
All right, hold on. I am just... Okay. Poof, can you guys see T now?
See T.
Hold on. I don't see me yet. You can just put a little T on the screen. It's kind of.
Oh, there's T. I see T now.
Wow! Why am I
sideways? T is sideways. Do you open auditions yearly? No, not specifically. There's no specific like cadence we do it. Oh, this is a good question. An older generalized audition video, or wait for the next one with a more tailored video? I mean, that's up to you, I would say. I mean, I can't really answer that for you, but like if you have a generalized audition video that's good, go for it. If you're not happy with it, then make a better one and submit it if you can submit it before the deadline. If not, then we'll probably do auditions again at some point in the future. Group debut thing, maybe. That depends on the people we select, so I'm not sure.
I don't think the time when you audition really matters, if I'm being honest with you. I mentioned earlier in chat that I auditioned on the last day. And auditions ran from, I think, what was it? It was like March to June, middle of June. I was just really busy. And so I put that in my audition video. I was like, sorry, I just been super busy. I running charity streams and going to events and all
Yep.
crazy sponsorships. Like, just use it to your advantage, especially if you're busy.
Yeah, for sure. Uh, so I definitely wanted to have T answer a very specific question that came up. But let me quickly go through like 2 more questions, and then I'll ask T a question, and then we'll see if there's any other ones. Do talents need to overall be consistent with their activities? Yes, definitely. What's an awesome audition? I think I mentioned briefly, but like, does your audition video showcase your personality well? Does it tell me about how seriously you view VTubing? Does it showcase like an aesthetic vision, creative talent, editing skill, things like that? So if you can show me all of those things in like a 3 to 5 minute video, then that's an awesome audition. Are we going to on-key? I don't know if we're going in person to on-key. Maybe.
We will have like meet and greets there at the very least, but I don't think we'll be going there in person.
Any
Unless
restrictions about game permission? Nope. You make your own, you do the content that you want. Can Lucid help? Oh.
Oh,
Peter. Yes, I can help you with your taxes. Do we need to be doing our own edits for our content, or is having an editor okay? This is also a really good question, and then I'll ask T a question. But our preference is that you know how to edit your own content and that you have editing skill on your own. This is really, really, really important for being a successful creator. Knowing how to do these things yourself is like absolutely invaluable to being a successful creator. So having an editor is fine. Obviously, again, we're never going to be like, no, you can't have your own editor. But if the reason for that is because you either don't know how to edit or don't want to learn how to edit, then I would just say like you should learn how to edit so that you can do it yourself. We also have an in-house editor that is meant to help, but again, we tell all of our talents that they should still be editing their own stuff as well. Our editor resources should be letting you make more content, not to replace the work that you would be doing on your own. Okay, so here's a question for T. And I think this is a good one because someone asked basically what does Lucid provide that like an indie couldn't do on their own? And my answer was like, well, you can probably do everything on your own, but for some people, it's not. You know, some people don't want to do it on their own. So I think you've talked a bit about that for yourself. So I think that would be a good question for you to answer. So, like, why Lucid for you?
Yeah, okay, so context. I was an indie for 5 years before I joined Lucid. I've been in Lucid for 2 years. So I feel like I have a pretty good idea of what it's like being on my own, but also being an agency. For me, I did a lot of stuff on my own. I had a merch drop. I got sponsorships. I attended conventions, but a lot of people don't want to put in the work to like go hunt this stuff down. And I don't mean that like in a putting down way. I mean like it is a lot of time. You put like if you want to do all that stuff on your own, like I found myself streaming less and less because I was dealing with sponsorship emails. I was trying to organize pretty much everything on my own and trying to navigate that. And sometimes it's great when I'm on Lucid. There's just like a little ping that comes up in our Discord. It's like, hey, does anyone want to go to this convention? And I'm like, heck yeah. Like, I don't even have to do anything. It's just there, right? Waiting for me. So, I think it's really important to learn how to do that stuff on your own, because then you quite understand how much time and effort and energy it does take. And even then, I still hunt stuff down myself, or I'm like, oh, this sounds like a good opportunity, and I'll do it. But it's nice to have, like, not just staff, but the other talents, like keeping an eyeball out for things that might be good for you personally.
There we go. That's a good answer. That is a good answer.
Also, get Duran to do lawyer stuff for us. So, like, when I have a contract, I don't have to think about it. I just toss it to you.
Yeah, that's right.
Yippee.
That is correct. I feel like the editing stuff is also a good one for you to maybe chime in on.
Oh yeah. When I joined Lucid, I was very, very new at editing. Like I could make a video, but mostly I had to do it in OBS. It's kind of embarrassing to say that out loud. But I would like set things up in OBS and then just press record. Because I was not very good at editing. But throughout the years, I've gotten better. We have a lot of staff and other talents that are really good at giving advice. I'm gonna be honest with you. What I've learned in my journey is that the stuff I learned right away is the stuff that I use every single time I edit. So you don't need to get caught up in all the fancy stuff. You just need like 3 things that you do every single time. And if you remember those 3 things,
Yep.
you can even go look at on my Pokemon channel, especially Trainer T. Like, there's always T shaking at some point in the video. It's just what I feel is right, and it works, and you don't have to get too fancy.
Yep. That is accurate.
Just please edit out the awkward silence at the beginning of your audition video.
Oh yes, please, I'm begging you. Just go into it. I don't want to have to wait for you to talk.
If you do that, you're gonna get into like the top like 10%. I'm not even joking. That's not an exaggeration.
Accurate. All right, let's see. There was a question. What is the top 3 qualities that we look for in a talent? I would say motivation, organizational skills, and talent. I guess that's like a very broad and vague answer, but those are probably the 3 things. Talent is kind of hard to. It's pretty subjective, but yeah, I think those are the 3 things.
Next question. Would it be okay to have a comedic audition video? Obviously still serious, but having jokes that showcase personality.
Yep, absolutely. Go for it. If you can make me laugh, that's good. I like laughing. So yeah, highly recommend laughter in life. How many seconds of silence acceptable?
Asking for
Yeah, but that's actually the only. That's actually what we do. If it's more than like 2 seconds, we're like, okay, this guy's not serious.
You need a whoosh, actually. You need a whoosh
Yeah.
effect, and like a subscription bell noise.
Yep. Can someone resubmit their audition video? Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Is there a preference to do super long marathon streams, or I think this actually has a pretty clear answer. I think like really, really long stream sessions is not good, in general, unless you're like, basically, if you're already really, really established or big or famous, you can do whatever you want. So like normal rules don't apply. But in general, I think really long stream sessions are generally not as good. And the reason for that is that your time is probably better spent elsewhere. I think one of the biggest things that a lot of creators say, you can see these notes and comments on Twitter all the time, is like, you want to be in as many places as possible to help with your discoverability. And if the only thing you're doing is like streaming 10 hours a day, then when you're not actively streaming, then no one can find you and no one can access your content, right? Because no one watches VODs. Twitch literally, or even YouTube, has like zero VOD discovery. So doing really long stream sessions is not good. So if you're like, I'm streaming 10 hours a day, I would recommend stream 4 hours a day and then spend 6 of the hours that you were previously streaming and make like a short every day or something like that. That's going to be like infinitely better for you than streaming 10 hours a day. Is there a sweet spot in the audition in terms of writing too much or too little? No, not really. I mean, I would just say in general, if you're writing really long essays about stuff, that's going to be annoying to read. But if you want to, go nuts. And the reason I say that, actually, like practically speaking, as I mentioned maybe at the beginning, and just for new people that came in terms of how we go through the audition applications, the first thing we're doing is looking at the actual application that you submitted, specifically like the content piece. That's probably like the first thing that I'm looking at in anyone's audition. Like, do you release 5 or 6 pieces of content per week? Yes or no? Can you? Yes or no? And then what's your explanation? Those things are number one thing that I look at. And then I usually go to watch the videos. So if all of those things look good and the video looks good, then I will like in depth go through everything that you've written in the application. So if you're even at that point, then I guess it doesn't matter how much you have written because I'll read it. So yeah, hopefully that answers that question. Is there a certain number of spots you're bringing in? Less than 5. How would one resubmit? Does the form allow you to do multiple submissions or not?
I think we restricted it if it's copying over the settings from last time. However, what you can do is either you message like the official Lucid account on Twitter or on Discord or what have you, or write us an email.
Rainer said Rainer said it does allow multiple submissions. Okay, so
okay,
cool. In that case, just submit again. Other question is, Lucid looking to create new IP VTubers? We are not. We are adopting. We cannot afford to make new models for everybody, unfortunately. One day, but
models are expensive.
Yep.
They really do.
Yep.
We mentioned earlier, even if you have just a customized model, that is enough.
Yep.
Don't worry about model stuff too much. In general, not just applying for Lucid, but in general. Please don't spend 20 grand
on
the VTuber model.
Definitely don't do that yet. Once you can afford it, sure, but not at the beginning. Very much agreed that. Agree with that. Very much agree. Okay, let's see. We can stick around for like 10, 15 more minutes.
Yeah.
If there's more questions or anything. Anything else you want to say, T?
Let me see. Looking at. Oh, I do have feelings about if you should write long answers or not
Yeah,
on the
please.
form. Just remember, as Strand mentioned, we've gotten like thousands of applications before. Think of it kind of like a resume. If there's something you really want to stand out, and it's gonna be buried in like 20 paragraphs, it's not gonna stand out. So
That's good.
I like to use a like mix of like bulletin points. And then if there's something you really want to go into detail about, then do that. Because then it'll stand out more.
Yeah. Good point. Just 2 questions that are the same
Very
question.
similar. Yeah.
There's so many like little fucking flies in my room. Anyways, I've killed like 2 since we started talking. I think one of my plants has like.
It's dying.
Anyways,
no.
No, it's not dying. There's like I think there's like little buggy dudes that are reproducing. And anyways, yeah. Sorry, I distracted myself because I'm old. No, we're looking for any type of talent. Specific content type or style is not as important to us as is can you release content on a consistent basis for an extended period of time? And are you motivated? Intrinsically motivated? Do you have good organizational skills? Are you good to work with and to get along with the rest of our talents? Like those factors are infinitely more important than the specific type of contents that you make. With adopting a VTuber, is there a size of talent? No, there's no specific size that we're looking for. We will give pretty much equal weight. Again, like the factors that I just listed are the most important thing. So like, let's say there's a person with just random numbers, 5,000 subscribers already, and they only stream like twice a week. And then we have another person that has like 500 subscribers, but they're like, I can stream 4 times a week and release a short every single day. Let's go. That person is going to be more interesting to me than the person with 5,000 subscribers. Now, if they had 500,000 subscribers, maybe that's a different answer, but you know, there's no like hard answer.
Next question by Jurihan. Is Lucid strategy more about building a tight-knit community for each talent, or are there specific cross-promotion systems in place to bridge the gap between the smaller and larger channels?
Oh, I see. Yeah, so I think the answer to that question is, in general, one of the things that we are focusing on this year is building more of a company-specific fan base that will allow us to like cross-pollinate, I guess, across our various talents. Similar to, I guess, if you think about HoloLive, one of the nice things about HoloLive is that the brand name and the org itself has a lot of fans. So if HoloLive debuts a new talent, they will immediately become famous, even if they're just like a random person that no one has ever heard of before. But just being associated with Hololive like immediately gives them a big bump. So that's ultimately that's like an aspirational goal for Lucid, and so stuff that we're doing is designed to achieve that goal. I would say we're certainly not there yet, but that's a goal.
If a talent has partnership/sponsorship/affiliate links prior to joining, can they keep those or do they need to dismiss those?
No, you can keep those. Yeah, those are things that we would discuss on an individual basis, but we wouldn't require you to like get rid of any deals that you have currently. Obviously, we take percentages of deals and stuff like that. But if someone comes in with existing partnerships, then we would just negotiate like what makes sense. And then other question, in-house model or is it adopt only? Right now, adopt only, and maybe in the future, I can't really answer that. But right now, adopt only. In-person meetings, no, never.
No, except for off-Kai.
Well, yeah, but you're not required to go.
That's true, but you should.
You definitely should.
You're pressuring everyone to go.
Ooh,
Yeah.
You want to go to Off-Kai so bad. Ooh.
Yeah. We definitely encourage people to go to Off-Kai, like highly encourage, because I think it's probably the most valuable experience for a VTuber to like the benefit of Off-Kai is like you can't even describe it. Not just to like interact with like each other, but to interact with fans. If you think about it this way, like one good personal interaction with a fan can create like a lifelong fan that same level of connection might take you 6 months with an online viewer that you can achieve in like one conversation in person. And I think that's the power of Off-Kai, because it's not just for VTubers, it's for VTuber fans. So it's like the best way to introduce yourself to new fans and like speed run that. So definitely do Off-Kai. We should be doing recruiting for certain numbers. Yeah, I mean, we have open recruitment generally speaking. That one, if you remember from like 9 months ago, was like there's some specific number requirements and stuff. So that will probably always kind of be open in general. But that's like separate from this process. Audition video that showcases all of their talents or only the best talents? I don't know. I mean, that's to you. Like that's not for me to say. There's no preference.
I would say do what highlights your streams. You can put like your sort of like minor talents. If we're going by like game, stuff, you have your major and minor talents. I think you should put your major talents in your video and really kind of highlight that stuff. And then you can put your minor talents in your written stuff. I literally put that I was like a forum moderator for like 15 years in my written part. I didn't put that in my video though.
Yeah. If a talent's trying to collab with a talent from a well-known agency like Hollow or Niji, would we be able to make that possible? No. We can certainly try.
It requires a bit more context because we have done it before, with Xander,
yeah.
But I guess it just depends on like your personal connection with that aforementioned like talent, right? If it's like a cold call, that'll be a little harder to execute than if you already have like a pre-existing like connection with that person.
So if a town has merch or other stuff, is that drawn into the revenue split, or is that income on their own? Again, that's just something that we would discuss. We probably wouldn't take the same percentage as we normally do if it's like your own thing, but we would probably still take some percentage because it's revenue that you're earning while under contract. But that would be like an individual discussion. Any other questions? 5 more minutes.
There are some questions that have already been answered. If you came in late, definitely watch the VOD because there's a lot of stuff that was answered in a lot of detail.
Oh yeah, like this one, customizable VTuber model, or would they need to get their own? Again, yeah. The 5-second answer is customizable model is totally fine. Not like if you have your own live 2D model, that's better. But again, don't let having just using a customized model like stop you, I guess. Right? The customized models are pretty good now, I'd say. Any other questions? Wait, what's Rhea's stream elements?
All right, chat. First chatter to find Ray's stream elements gets a cookie.
Come on, chat. I believe in you.
I believe Rhea's livelihood depends on it.
Her literal health depends on it, guys. In the meantime, another question by Luna Faye. Is there certain platform mains, or are you looking to bring on like someone who specializes in Twitch, YouTube, etc.? I guess, yeah. Like, what are there? Is there a preference in streaming platform or a content creation
No,
platform?
I don't think so. Not really. I would say, yeah, no. Twitch. I mean, we have talents that use Twitch. We have talents that use YouTube. So, it doesn't matter to me. I think each of those platforms have their own strengths and weaknesses. So it's really just kind of like what's better for your own style.
A question by Shizu Estrella. If we've applied in the past in 2023, can we apply again?
Yep, absolutely. Why not? Why not? Our contracts renewed and reviewed on a yearly basis or a different time scale. The standard time scale we use is 18 months and then 1 year renewal periods. That's the standard that we do. If you want to join that I use a model A in the video but want to debut as another model, is it okay? Yeah, sure.
We use whatever we feel like on that day.
Yep. I've been washing my waistline, so no cookie for me. That's good. Good for you.
I just realized chat might not be able to post links. That's probably.
Oh, I'm watching.
That's probably true.
I've been watching my waistline get bigger, so also been watching it, but just like the other way. It's growing. That's what happens when you get old. One piece of advice: don't get old.
Me with my little like back compressor thing on. Yes.
Yep, exactly. Never get old. All right. Any last questions? Let's see. How is revenue calculated? Advice for not getting old. To say something really inappropriate, but I'm not going to say it. So, anyways,
we love self-control.
Actually, no. I know a good one for not getting old. What, like drinking unicorn blood, right? That's a good one.
You would slaughter a unicorn just to Be young.
Hell yeah, dude.
Bruh.
Redacted.
As soon as I find a unicorn, it's over.
This is going
It's
in the
going
Google Doc, bruh.
It's going down. Okay, so how is revenue calculated and kept track of? Do we help talents with taxes? Yes, I do help talents with taxes. I have done that specifically for the past 2 years with a few talents that have asked me. How do we calculate and keep track of revenue? That's pretty easy. We track what comes in. Everything comes into the Lucid account. We have manager access for everyone's accounts, so that way we can see what the revenue is, and also so the talents can see what their own revenue is, obviously, so that when we pay the talents, they can double check that we're doing it correctly. I'll say that I don't make mistakes. I take it very seriously, so I haven't made a mistake yet, and I don't intend on making a mistake in the future. So I am very careful and organized with the revenue tracking.
It's also awesome for doing taxes because before I used to have to keep track of every single revenue stream I had.
Yeah, exactly.
And now I'm just like, woohoo!
Yep.
One
is,
thing
yeah.
for every month of the year.
Yep. Yeah, it's actually more beneficial from a tax perspective to do it this way, because then you also limiting the amount of work that you have to do for like deductions and other things like that. You're just getting a payment from Lucid. It's quite simple. Is it better to speak the whole 3 to 5 minutes per splice and clips? Again, there's no answer for that. I would say, make a more engaging video, and whatever that means for you, that's something that will showcase, your skills and creative vision and stuff. So, number one thing you hate to see in an audition video, long silences. Any advice for befriending a unicorn? No, I wish I did. If I did, I would be so young right now. Yeah, no tax. I mean, yeah, I definitely help people with their taxes. I don't do your taxes for you, but I will help you in order to do them, so it's easier. All right, last call.
We also have a audition form in our Discord, or you can ask us questions if you're watching a VOD and your question didn't get answered.
That's right. 5 minutes of sign language. If your model can actually do sign language, that would be pretty. Is there a sign, like, is there a VTuber that does sign language? That would be really cool.
That sounds like such a pain in the butt. I'm sure there is, maybe.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be so cool? Like a deaf, like appealing to the deaf audience. Like, I'm sure there's an audience out there.
The tech behind it I feel like it's just not there yet.
Probably not.
Because it might not work that well.
Probably not. But, it's an interesting thought.
It's always 2.5D.
There is. Any words of encouragement? I mean, all I can say is that I believe in treating people well, and I'm pretty confident that we treat our talents well. I think we have good relationships with all of the talents, even like the talents that have left the company. No one has left, at least as far as since I've been here, no one has left like in a bad way, in the sense that, so we have good maintained strong relationships with even the talents that are no longer here. We are very open about taking feedback and input from our talents and listening to them. So yeah, I would say those things. Pretty confident in that, actually. I would like to think that we do things the right way as a company. We balance the fact that this is a business, needs to make money, but also that the people in the company are people, and that the talent's success will lead to the company's success and vice versa. So very important for us to all kind of be aligned and on the same page and like working together. Yeah, I think that that's the culture that I'm working on building or have built and am continuing to improve and get better and build a stronger culture and stuff. And I would hope is that we can continue for many more years without any big issues or drama and have our talents be happy and successful.
Well, can I say something as well?
Yes.
We have like a little form that we can send feedback anonymously if we want to. I almost never send it anonymously because
Nope.
I'm
Sure.
just like, hi, it's T. But it's still like a place you can be like, oh, this is, I'm having a problem, or I just want to give a little feedback on something. And it's always treated with care and thoughtfulness, in my experience so
Yeah,
far.
that's true. That's true.
Even to a point where like if we need to like have a chat or something, Duran's usually open to doing that.
Hmm.
The other thing is and this is very important. A lot of our talents are, as Duran has mentioned, I saw some comments about like how can you guarantee you're not gonna have drama? You can't. You can't. But we do look closely and make sure people are not stirring the pot. Um, the Twitter points are not worth it, especially if you want to eventually get into an agency. Almost
I
every
get it.
agency that uh, would be, in my opinion, good at getting into uh, doesn't, put their 2 cents in on Twitter. So keep that in mind. And I think this is okay to share, but we also get like company reports every quarter.
That's right.
Duran
Yep.
talks to us, the
Hmm.
talents, and tells us how the company is doing, if we're doing better, if we're doing worse, if we need to up our content, if we're, you know, any questions we have, we could just ask. So, I've mentioned this a couple of times to Duran, but I'm always like, thank you for not being a scam. Because when I was applying, the like, what was it, the Akio Air stuff was going on. And I was like, oh my God. I was a little scared.
Yep. Yep.
So, but it hasn't really been that way, thankfully. So,
Yeah.
just be really careful about what companies you are applying to. Yeah.
True that. True that.
Ask all the questions.
All right, this is the last question from Batty Chan, and we'll end it here because we've been going for a while, but which has been awesome. All right, last question: what would make an ideal candidate? Because I don't think this specifically has been asked or answered yet. I think like some related topics have been asked, but not this specific one. So I'll answer. What would make an ideal candidate for Lucid? What are the key things that you look for that you think would make someone a good fit? So yeah, this one of the things that I have said before today many times that I'll repeat here because I think it's important. the most important thing, in fact, number 1, 2, and 3, is just the motivation and ability to produce content consistently for long periods of time. That's really, 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 really important. So showing that you have not just the ability to do it, like if I can look at your channel to be like, oh, have you been like releasing videos consistently for the past 6 months? Not just that, because that's easy to look at, but sort of like, do you have the mindset of someone who can do that? Because not everyone has the ability to do that, from a, again, from like a mentality perspective, right? So like, we want, or I'm looking for people that are serious about being full-time creators. Like, I really, really want to do this as a career, and I understand that what that means specifically. One of the things that I think that people often get wrong or misunderstand about being a content creator is that they think it's like an easy job, where it's like, oh cool, I can like stay home and play video games all day, and like that's an awesome job. But doing like, that's not really what being a content creator is. Like, you have to, in order to be really successful at it, you have to approach it like a real job. So you're like, okay, I'm going to stream for 3 hours today, and then I'm going to spend 5 hours writing scripts and recording content and editing content. And then I'm going to schedule my releases, or like Sunday's my recording day, where I'm going to like dedicate all of Sundays to recording videos or shorts or writing scripts and things like that. Like, having the mentality where you understand that that's what being a creator really is. And then having the demonstrated ability to do that. People that have like really good internal organization skills. So like, I would look at like, oh, how do you structure your day? How do you keep track of the things that you're working on? Those are probably the big things. Then from a personality perspective, something that T mentioned, and they also mentioned in chat, but we want someone from a personality perspective who we think we will get along with, because ultimately we're going to be working with you every day, from a staff perspective, and then from a talent perspective, you're going to be interacting with our talents every day. So we want to make sure that we're bringing people into the company that we'll actually get along with. That's a really important one. And then one of the other components that is really important, and I'll end with this, is yeah, like kind of Nay just said in the chat, but someone who actually wants to be a part of the company. And I say this specifically to mean that I think in Western VTubing, there is a proclivity for people to think that the agency relationship is one-sided, in that like, I'm only joining an agency because they can do stuff for me. So like, how much budget are you giving me? How much editing videos are you doing for me each month, right? If people have that mentality here, it's not really going to work. I don't want someone who wants to join the company because like, you can do stuff for me. Obviously, we will do stuff for you, but we want people who actually give a shit about being part of the company, and like understand that the company itself also needs to succeed as a business in order for the company to continue to provide support and services to the talents. And again, not a lot of people view agencies as more of a transactional thing, as opposed to like, I'm going to wear this banner proudly and be in Lucid proudly, and I understand that like, Lucid to succeed needs to take revenue, because that's how the company makes money, and that's how the company provides the staff to support me as a creator. So yeah, just someone who really like wants to be a part of the team. Like those are the biggest and most important things that I'm looking for in a talent. Everything else is really secondary. So yeah, that was my long-winded answer there. Okay, we have been talking for a long time, so that's the end of that. But yeah, thank you all for hanging out and chatting with us. Hopefully, this was really useful. Thank you to T and Manager Kun, as well as Naomi for hanging out in the chat, and Rhea for asking for $5. And all of you guys for watching and asking good questions. Thank you guys.
Thank you. One last thing before you all leave the stream. We just released our first episode of season 2 of our short series, A Day in the Life of Lucid. If you enjoy comedy shows and sitcoms like The Office, we're trying to do a little bit something like that. So if you guys could please go to the link that is going to be pinned in the chat right now. Please feel free to give it a watch, leave a comment, leave a like, let us know what you think. We're going to be releasing these regularly. For the auditions and stuff, if after watching this stream you feel motivated to apply, or if you have any other questions regarding the audition process that we didn't get to, in the description of this stream there is a link to our website with all the audition information and FAQs. There's also a link to our Discord where you can chat with other auditionees as well as hang out with our really cool and fun community. We will not be answering any further questions at this time, but if you do have any questions, please feel free to ask it in the Discord, or like on Twitter, just like go to our audition sort of promo video and feel free to like reply to that, and we'll get to your question when we can. Other than that,
all right, cool. Thanks, Hug.
Yeah, I think that covers everything.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Thank you, everyone, and have a good rest of your weekend. Enjoy your Sunday.
Take care, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.